So I'm going to move on now to some practical tips first and foremost, because before we get too into the subtleties, we need to make sure that we have got the basic things right. And as I said, these tips are going to be up on the screen during the comfort break, so don't worry too much about taking notes. So these are the things that I've learned in the last 18 months when it comes to doing Zoom presentation. And the first thing really is the backdrop. I think this is something that needs to be thought about. And this may require you to move your desk around and make sure that you've got the right background setting, because we don't really want to be looking too much into your room, because rather than listening to you, people will be distracted and will start looking at your sofa and the blanket you've got on your chair, and maybe a cat is going to walk past, or something is going to happen that's going to distract them, and you want them to be focused on you, so you need to have a backdrop. Think about that. My backdrop, I've put a couple of plants, I've got a candle, some interesting lighting. So that's how I set my backdrop up for today. But take a good long look at your backdrop. Maybe you want to have a picture on the wall. Maybe you want to have a plant to break things up. So if I just look at a few of you, I'm looking at Arnold here, and Arnold has got just the corner of a picture. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's a lovely blue, but I kind of like to see the rest of the picture. So I'm being a little bit distracted. I'm looking at Anna Key, and she's again has got this lovely gold picture behind her, but it doesn't really tell me anything. It's just a color. I'm looking at Nancy, and I'm looking at this sort of, is it a staircase? And I'm wondering, gosh, where does that staircase go? And, is that a radiator behind her? So I'm being slightly distracted by these things. Who else can I see? Petra has got a lovely Shiv Baba picture behind her, but I'm thinking, it'd be nice to have a plant or some greenery or something just to sort of soften those edges. I'm looking at Leah, and Leah feels a little bit too far away. Hi, Leah. Usha has got a Zoom backdrop, and she looks like she's having a very cosmic experience, and it's great. But I'm wondering why she chosen a background. Why am I not seeing her room? Who else have we got here? Other people are I can't see. Anna Kay, all I can see is her shoulders and up to her nose. That's it. Now I can see your face. So that's an improvement. I can see Tech Team Marieka, and again, you've got a door behind you, I can see, and I'm wondering, is someone going to come through that door? So basically what I'm saying is it's nice to have a scene set behind you that conveys the message of what you want to convey. Marion was here when we had our little practice session, so she has set herself up beautifully. She's got a plant, and she's got 3 hearts on a block of wood. So it's just something of interest, something that conveys the message of what it is you want to convey. Yes.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
What about the light? I mean, I've no clue if I'm looking in the camera or not. And what about the lighting?
Okay.
And the general here.
Yeah, we're going to come on to lighting in just a moment. In just one moment, we're going to do lighting. I have to confess, I have a slight issue when people have these Shiv Baba pictures that are hung like a diamond shape, because in my mind, pictures should be straight, and it just looks a bit odd for me. That's just a personal thing. A lot of people choose a Shiv Baba on a diamond shape angle. But set it up. If you're going to be doing a talk, Peggy's looking beautiful with a plant there. It was really nice. It breaks up that white space. So take some time, look at what's behind you, set things up. Pauline is now already moving her plants around to make her backdrop more interesting. Set things up so that they look calming, soothing, and not distracting. The last thing we want is for people to be distracted. So the second thing I'm going to talk about is the position of your microphone. Now you can use the built-in microphone on your device, on your iPad or your computer. It's fine, it will work, we will hear you. But if you are going to be doing this a lot, it might be worth investing in a separate microphone. I'll show you the one that I'm using. It's this. It's called a Yeti. It has a very nice function on it, which is a little mute button. So if you need to cough or clear your throat, you can just press the mute button and no one can hear you. The rule of thumb is that the nearer the microphone is to your mouth, the better the quality of sound. The further the microphone is away, the more it will sound distant and it will sound like there's a bit of an echo. So just have a think, if you're wanting to really develop your skill as a presenter, it might be worth investing in a microphone. The next thing is the position of the camera. And we had that illustrated just now when all I could see was up to about here. We need to see your face, and we need to be the camera basically should be positioned just above eye level, looking just slightly down so that you're looking up. I've done interviews with people where they are using a laptop and basically all we can see is from someone's chin up their face. And in some cases you can actually see up someone's nostril. That's not what we want. We want to see your face and we want to see it straight on. And the other thing is you need to be positioned correctly in the frame. They've done a lot of research to show that if you're positioned like I am now, where my head is almost to the top of the frame, it creates a sense of authority and that you know what you're talking about. If the screen is like, if I try and move my computer, if I'm like this, I don't have the same authority. It seems like I'm, and these people do it like this. It seems like I am small and don't really know what I'm talking about. Okay, so what you're aiming for is if you put your hand on top of your head, your hand should be touching the top of the box. So that's the sort of distance that you're wanting from the top. It's Peggy, you need to come down a little bit. You're wanting to be positioned so that you're occupying the top third of your screen. Okay, so that's the position of your camera. In order to achieve this position, you may need to put your device, your computer or whatever you're using on a box. I've got these blocks here, just a block of wood. You may need to stand it, if you're just using a small laptop, you may need to stand it on a box or some blocks of wood in order for the built-in camera to be at the right position. Don't just have your laptop on the desk and use the camera looking up your nose, because we don't want to look up your nose. We want to look at your face. So make sure the camera is just above eye level and you will achieve the right angle. Everyone's going off to find things to raise their devices, which is great. Put it into practice straight away. Now, we had the question just a moment ago about lighting, and lighting is a massively important subject. And again, if you're going to be doing this a lot, you're probably going to need to invest in a little bit of specialist lighting, and you can buy good lights really not that expensively. So what I've got in front of me, I could get up and show you, but there's no need, is I've got a stand, so you can make it as high as you want, and it's got a light on it, and the light is shining down at an angle of 45 degrees, and that's what is lighting the wall behind me. And there's a little bit of light coming onto my face as well. I've also got a window on this side of me, but in order for the light to not be too bright from the sun, I've closed the curtain. so it diffuses the light, because you want the light to be sort of evenly on your face. You can buy little lights that stand on your desk. If you don't want to buy lights, then just improvise with lamps that you have. But look at your lighting. What you don't want is to have half of your face really well lit and the other half in darkness. If that is the case, find a lamp and put it on this side of the room and angle it towards you so that you have got light coming from two different sources. So if I just look at a few people, so Rosalina, I'm looking at you. You're sat with a window on one side, so that side of your face is well lit. The other side is quite dark. Carmen, I'm looking at you. Your face is looking quite dark. It could do with a few more lights. So just find a lamp and bring it closer to you. Marieka, again, I can see a light reflecting on the glass of the picture behind you. So you might want to switch that light off or move the light, because that's kind of giving a reflection which is quite distracting. Half of your face is well lit, the other half is quite dark. Okay, so think about lighting. The other thing to be aware of is that there is light coming onto your face from the computer screen itself. And sometimes I find that this light can make your skin actually look quite red and blotchy, and you look at yourself and you think, gosh, is my face really as red as that? In which case, turn down the brightness on your computer screen and use your lights that you have placed in the correct position, because otherwise this light from the computer can just give a very uneven kind of blotchy look. So just be aware of the light that is coming from your computer screen. The next point is acoustics. Do we want to just translate that word acoustics for anyone who doesn't know it?
Acoustic.
Acoustic, okay. Yeah. As Brahmins, we often live in a space which is quite minimalist. So we maybe have a tiled or a wooden floor, and maybe there's a guddy, and pretty much that's it. If you try and record in a space like that, it's going to sound like you're in the downstairs toilet. It's going to sound very echoey. It's not a good sound. And I heard someone speak just a moment ago who had a very echoey acoustic. So in order to work with that, you need to be recording in a room, ideally that has a carpet, ideally that has curtains at the window, that has a sofa, some blankets, some cushions, some rugs on the floor, anything that is going to dampen the sound. Because if you sound all echoey, it's just not easy to listen to you. It's like you're in an airport departure lounge or something, and it's just all you can hear is this echoing empty space. So think about the acoustics, and if necessary, bring some soft furnishings into the room, you know, and you'll be amazed what a difference it makes. Even putting a rug on the floor will make a difference. So that's acoustics. So some little practical tips. There's a habit that some people have when they're presenting, and they have got their notes and they're on the table and they're speaking like this. So your camera should be just above eye level. You may need to raise a laptop on some boxes. And basically all you're seeing is the top of their head, which isn't very interesting. So we want to see your face. So in order to get around this problem, my tip is to use a cookery book stand. Here's mine. Okay. So you're using that to put your papers on. I then have a clipboard. There's my clipboard. And then I have my papers are on the clipboard on the stand. So you end up with this. Yeah. And then I stand that on a block of wood. Stand it on a block of wood so that I'm looking at you and I'm just checking what I'm needing to say next. So my head is only moving from here to here. You can still see me. Yeah. So make sure that what you're using for reference material isn't on your desk, that it's raised up nicely. Another tip I've discovered is to put your pieces of paper into a clear plastic sleeve. Yeah, like this. And that is so that when you've finished everything on that page, you can just slide it and put it on your desk without it making any sound. The last thing you want to hear is all of this, you know, papers being rustled. It's just distracting because you're trying to give a seamless thing. So by putting them in the sleeve in front of you, you can just slide it off and the next one is there waiting, and you slide that one off as you're working through your talk or your presentation or whatever it is you're doing. So that's a nice little practical tip. The other thing is when you're preparing your notes for your talk or whatever it is you're doing, I tend to just use the top half of the page. Again, it's if I'm looking at the bottom of the page, I have to look like this. The top half of the page, I can keep my head up and I'm just looking like this. Use 1.5 spacing or double spacing so that things are set out nice and clearly. Put things in bold. So if you're talking to someone, put their name in bold, or anything significant, put it in bold. So when you look down, you can find it on the page really easily. So that's another little tip. Another point is you want to be uninterrupted. So if you're sharing your house with others, make sure you tell them that you're doing a talk or doing a recording. I always put a chair outside the door just to remind people not to come in. And sometimes I will put a little sign to say recording in process, because you don't want, you know, people walking in or walking behind you or just forgetting that you're doing something. So make sure that the space is, you know, not going to be interrupted whilst you're doing your talk. Another little tip is to make sure that you've got a clock so that you can keep an eye on the time, and have it just in front of you so that you can see it really quickly and easily, and make sure that you're aware of your timings and that you don't run over. And then there's another thing I'm going to just talk about briefly, which, you know, you may be wanting to make a film about the experience of Dutch teachers doing service. And, you know, in order to get the best quality, you use your mobile phone. The camera on your phone is going to be much better quality than your computer or your laptop. These phones nowadays come with fantastic cameras. So you can record on your phone. And if you want to do that, just take the phone out of the case and you can pop it into a little stand like this. And then this rotates and you can just hold it whichever way you want to hold it. Probably this way. Slide the phone in. And then set the phone on a table, set up your lighting, and then you can just put a little clip mic. You can plug a clip mic into your phone, and then you can make a really super recording on your mobile phone, and then you can upload that recording onto your computer and edit it together, and you'll have a really high definition recording, which you won't be able to achieve by just using Zoom, because the picture quality on Zoom is not as good as the picture quality on your phone. So that's just another tip to think about if you're wanting to get into making recordings.